許さーい。貴様鷹の目だな。特製マギー玉消し飛ぶが整いました。マギー玉とかけまして水道工事で大活躍と解きますのどっか。
What's up, everybody? We've got some Buggy gameplay against Doflamingo. We're honestly searching for our promo Buggies. Good old Shoe Buggy, because that is what's going to potentially carry us in this matchup. Such a good card into these low-end aggro decks. Those decks that rely on those 3 and 4 drops. And Doflamingo, very well known for its 4 drops. So hopefully we can dodge some Jozus today and instead just lock down my opponent's board. We ended up losing the die roll, which is a bit unfortunate. We're going to be going second. Now, I did say before that I do like going second as Buggy, though in this specific matchup, I think I'd rather take first, just to take Doffy off their preferred curve. Now, if we see a teach here on the second turn, this is going to get pretty awkward for me. We're going to go pass back to our turn. Prona is going to stack the top 5. We're going to look at our hand here. We do have a Galdino. It's going to let us search the top 5 or top 4 for a Cross Guild or a Baroque Works. We're going to pick up our first promo Buggy. Now, I will spoiler alert, we did keep one in hand already, so you can see we've already got one in hand. We've got our backup one that we've already searched up here. We're going to look top 5 or top 4 yet again. Probably just going to pick up a 2K off this one. Also, potentially could have picked up the stage, but instead I think 2Ks might be worthwhile, especially into Doflamingo likely going to be starting to swing 7Ks on this next turn. Going to pass it back to the good old opponent. If we see it teach this turn, I'm going to start crying, because that card is incredibly good on Doffy's second turn, especially if they've got the play. It'll allow them to swing 7K and establish a body on board. And yes, they have exactly what is in my nightmares. Good old Marshall D teach. This card, honestly, one of the best cards in Doflamingo's deck. If you see this card on board and you don't have a way to kill it, this game is going to get way harder. And unfortunately, I don't have a way to deal with it right now, as I'm playing a blue deck. And gonna go swing 7K, gonna put a Mihawk into play. I'm just gonna like to take that one here. No, I do have to be cognizant of my hand size throughout this game, because putting is a threat. Now, typically, I've been playing Buggy pretty loosely, right? Buggy, typically, because of the draw spells in the deck, the peel-off, I typically try to keep a very big hand size, but I do have to be a little cognizant of it as I play against this Doflamingo deck. We're gonna start with we're just gonna go 5K here. Well, we're thinking about it. My initial thought was go 5K, 6K, but Doflamingo runs just so many counters. Instead, we're just going to go a big 9K and try to get that Mihawk off the board. Doflamingo only has 3 cards in hand, and I think if I can stymie some of the early aggression before I set up my Shoe Buggy, I'm going to be in a pretty good spot. Now, once we get to this next turn, we're gonna be raw and ready for playing out Shoe Buggy. Likely going to put a Mihawk into play as well, and at that point, we just kind of have to hope to fade a few red rocks. We've got the backup promo Buggy in hand just in case, as an additional sign of insurance against the potential red rocks that this Doflamingo deck is going to be playing. Most Doflamingo decks are playing between 2 and 4, so I could definitely expect at least 1 in a game. Gonna go ahead and start with the Gecko Moria. Gonna search up grab that 2K back at a yard, and then again they're primed to just activate Teach yet again to allow themselves to swing another 7K swing here. Gonna put a card on top, attach Judon, and go ahead and swing another 7K into lead. Gonna activate and flip into play the same Mihawk that they just got out of the trash, likely. And because I am again afraid of putting, I also want to stay at a pretty high life total here, so we're gonna give 2K, 1K, and then it's gonna stymie that attack. And now we're just gonna go back to our turn. Lucky for me, those 2 4 drops in play, as far as I know, will not be attacking on this next turn. I can also establish myself a Mihawk, but I gotta decide what to pitch at this point here. Off of Buggy's leader ability, just because I do need to rest 5 Dawn and discard a card. So you got to be a little mindful of what cards you discard, because that might end up being a card you want to use later. We're going to start with a 6K swing. I think this 6K might be going into life here, just ignoring Mihawk at this point, because I know good old Shoe Buggy's coming down. We're going to discard a card from hand, going to pinch a Vanilla, play promo Buggy. Promo Buggy puts a 6 cost or less cross guild character into play. It's good old Mihawk. Mihawk going to on play draw 2, trash 1. You can see we picked up another promo Buggy. We've seen 3 of our 4 promo Buggies. I am ecstatic. We are in dreamland right now, because this is exactly what I want to see in this matchup, and I can kind of no longer have to worry about my opponent developing half the characters in their deck, unless again we see a red rock. Now my opponent immediately sliding 2 characters off to the side, kind of saying, you guys are in timeout, means likely there's not going to be a potential red rock off the top here. We're going to see a little Sengoku Surge. Going to look top 5. Hopefully he's bottom dugging some red rocks here. Does still have 6 Dawn open, so I am a little bit afraid. But again, picking up the 3rd copy of Promo Buggy means I can just establish it next turn. Though I might be taking just a few 5k hits, right? Red rocking at this point in the game does require quite a bit of Dawn to utilize that they don't already have to attach to characters. So I know I won't be getting hit too hard if a red rock comes down. But we're gonna see what he ends up doing here. Second teach pickup means the one teach activation could target lead, another one could target another character on board. So these little weenies might start swinging pretty hard potentially at me here. But if teach turns sideways, I'm gonna clean it up because again that card is very scary for me. And we're gonna see 4 Dawn. Could be a potential boa. Yep, gonna see a boa come down, and boa on play. Gonna look top 3. Rearrange that and then attach 1 to lead. So we're going to see likely another activation of leader effect here. Notably, Buggy's effect does not stop characters from blocking, but it does stop them from attacking. So this specific boa is going to be on blocker duty probably until they can red rock the Promo Buggy. We're going to see a 7k swing at lead here. See a 1k or a Perona off the top. Likely just trying not to put any more things into play here. We're gonna block with Mihawk and give a 2k. Unfortunately, didn't have a 1k to give there, which would have been pretty great. But 2k is just fine enough. Still, not having to give 2 cards away. And we're gonna go back to my turn here. We've got another Promo Buggy we can put into play, which we can put into play another Mihawk, which is likely what we're gonna do here, just to try to fill up the board because now I have a strategy. Right, my strategy right now was stalling the game, but now we've drawn 10 drop Buggy, which means my strategy has changed a little bit here. It means we're going to try to resolve a 10 drop Buggy on the next turn. That would be pretty great. Making my opponent have to deal with 3 red rockable targets is pretty hefty, a pretty hefty price. Just because red rock does cost 6, so they can't do 2 in 1 turn. We're going to start with an 8k swing here. I am never afraid of swinging with my blockers. Always, Mihawk, yeah, he's a great blocker, but hey, you got to end the game eventually. So we're swinging 8k, a 7k. Just keep sending these at my opponent. Now this could get a block plus a 2k counter. Instead, just gonna get 2k, 1k here. So instead, giving me 1 extra card, and we're gonna pitch the Buggy and play out another 7-drop Buggy, playing out another Mihawk. So I guess we're abandoning our plan of 10-drop Buggy here, and instead going into some other play here. And we've got another Promo Buggy in hand. We've seen all 4 copies. I think 4 is potentially a little too much now, so we're going to pitch 1 away, taunt my opponent a little bit. And we've still got another one in the backup here. So currently, I'm kind of playing against the odds of my opponent seeing 3 red rocks this game before I kill him with my big old Mihawks here. We're potentially going to be swinging at least 3 9Ks a turn. Potentially, that's a bare minimum, while also still trying to establish bodies. So we could likely swing like what 2 8Ks and a 7K. Even a 7K is just enough, that still eats the 2K 1K. But with the bow on board, I do kind of want to swing above that. But we'll see here on the 9 Dawn turn what Buggy ends up doing. I do think a Gravity Blade would be pretty gross right now, but because he's immediately attaching 2 Dawn to an attacker, maybe not too gross. We're going to see a 5k swing. Just going to go for a little ping. I'm at 4 life, so we're going to take that. We do hit the peel off life. Able to draw 2 additional cards here. Pretty nice. Love to see that card off life. That's why it's there. Good off life. Also good to play on your early turns of the game or the late turns, so you can potentially fill up on hand size. We're going to see another 5k. Just going to keep poking me here. I do have 5 cards in hand, but I don't want to keep taking these little hits because I know a big hit's going to come potentially. I think he's trying to bait out the blocker Mihawk. So then you can do a bigger swing into the Mihawk to try to clear one of them, because those Mihawks are going to be going sideways here. I do have a tapped Mihawk, so he does have the option of swinging into that tapped Mihawk. Has not activated Teach's ability, but there is no rested Dawn right now, so we're going to go see a Perona. So you can tell Doflamingo is not having a good time if he's replacing one of his 4 drops with a 1 drop here, just to have more bodies on board that can just ping for little damage here. Just means they haven't seen a red rock here, but that Perona could potentially put a red rock somewhere near the top. But again, I have insurance. 2nd Buggy on board, so for me this game is cruising at this point. I'm gonna use probably my Galdino to clean up some of the little threats. Maybe use my Buggy to clean up the Teach, and then send the other two Mihawks straight at face here, just to try to finish the game as quickly as possible. I don't want to end up in a moment where my opponent does manage to take care of two of my threats, or even Gravity Blade me. Gravity Blade would be pretty disgusting. We're gonna see a 5k swing. I'm just gonna go ahead and counter that out with a 2k, and then 3 more Dawn. 3 more Dawn could go on Sengoku to just swing another 5. And that might be potentially what the play is here. Just trying to ping to try to shave off some life or get some blocks here. And because this is the last swing coming at me, it's going to be a pretty simple block with a Mihawk here. And that pretty much finishes Buggy's turn. Or finishes Doffy's turn. Back to good old Buggy. We've got some things in hand. Would have loved to actually, in hindsight, have that 10 drop Buggy in hand. Would have been pretty cool to resolve that. But instead we're going for more of the trying to keep some counter in hand and try to play against any outs that my opponent could have. We're gonna swing 2k into the Sengoku. Want to get rid of the Sengoku because Law could come down and just start bouncing all those utility cards. We're gonna go 5k into the 3k. Take out the Teach. We know he's potentially got a second Teach in hand, and we're gonna tap 4. We're going to go, or tap 5. We're gonna just play out Daz Bones. Daz Bones gonna draw us 2. Discard 1. We found another 10 drop Buggy, and now that I've seen the 10 drop Buggy, I don't know if that 3000 worlds is necessarily any good for me here. And I think we might actually just go ahead and say, alright, I think we can finish the game before you can red rock both my Buggies. So pitching the second Buggy, showing my opponent, yes, I did indeed have all 4 of them in hand. I'm an absolute menace to society. I think, no, we almost swung 7k. We're instead actually thinking about just pitching to leader effect. Could just pitch the... are we gonna pitch? No, come on, you know you want to resolve that big old Buggy. You know you want to do it. No, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna keep edging the audience here, and bottom deck the 3000 with the 3000 worlds. Bottom deck their blocker and just start swinging some 7ks here. We're gonna swing an 8k now, 7k into the 8k. Opponent's gonna go down to 1. And we're just going to pass. Maybe we can use promo Buggy on this next turn as kind of a way to insult to injury. But at this point, I guess I didn't want to go down a card in hand, as I would have to use Buggy's leader ability. But at this point, this game, I would say, is pretty much over at this point. Doflamingo unfortunately didn't see any Jozu's. Didn't see any Gravity Blades when it mattered, right? At this point, if he doesn't resolve a blocker, which, with a Teach Boa into Gravity Blade could be a play that could make this turn to still establish a blocker and bottom deck 2 of my threats. But again, I'm going to have 2 swingers next turn at minimum if that happens. And yeah, pretty unfortunate for my opponent. That they did separate out the Dawn 4 Dawn and 4 Dawn and 6 Dawn here. Instead, going to tap 2, going to play down a Teach. I do remember that they had that Teach in the hand. Probably going to activate it, put a card on top, and maybe use Buggy's ability to put something into play. Likely going to be some swings at Mihawk here, and we're going to see activation of Teach's ability. I'm going to attach 2 Dawn to leader, and putting a card back on top. If it is a Boa blocker, it's not something that's going to be blocking with him, but does allow them to swing just a little bit heavier potentially into something. But we're going to see here what ends up happening. We're going to swing 7k. I think this 7k is going at lead potentially here. 7k making it at 8k. Again, Doflamingo just needs to finish me off at this point because I've got him completely Buggy locked. And yeah, that's an 8k going to lead. We're just going to immediately take that one. Don't mind an extra swing when we're still at 3 life. And a bit of Dawn left for my opponents. At least 6 more Dawn here to potentially swing, or actually no, 7 more Dawn. This could be a 9k into a Buggy with a Perona, which might not be too terrible, right? It would require quite a bit from hand here. Yeah, we're gonna go 9k into the Mihawk here. I do have to counter out that. I'm gonna give 2/2ks to keep that alive, just because I know Mihawk's gonna be my way to victory here, just ensuring that I have 4 swings into Doflamingo. And we're seeing the power of promo Buggy here, especially an unanswered promo Buggy, and this is kind of why a lot of Doflamingo decks are running 3 to 4 red rocks. We're gonna swing 9k again. But only has 4 cards in hand. We got a whole lot of swingers, a whole lot of Dawn left. We're just gonna go 9k, and then just finish it up. And unfortunately, take the game right there. Only 9k counter, and there was the red rock right on top of the deck here. Eventually it was here, but it was here a little too late. Anyways, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 by this summer, and have a good one, everybody.